Okay, I'm making this video in reference to the globe trolls that have come on my last video of the rocket launch. And what they don't never take into consideration is the blockage that I'm getting from these trees in the horizon that's in front of me. Yes, I may be 85, 95 feet high, but there's a lot of land between me and the East Coast that is much higher than even where I'm setting. Because if you look at the terrain, the cartography between my position and the East Coast, there is pretty much 10, 20, maybe even 30 miles of my actual horizon being blocked from this tree line that's directly in front of me. Now, if you think that is the true horizon at the top of these trees, you globe heads are stupid. I mean, very, very stupid. And then you would have to take into consideration the perspective size of that rocket at 115 miles away. That's right, it is actually 115 miles away because I did another video in the past that I showed my location. I showed the distance that um, I was at, and it's 115 miles from my position to the opposite coast. So now, once we take that into consideration, how much of a pin dot, if if I could even see a pin dot, would it? How long would it take to get to the top of these trees in order for me to see it? Yeah, maybe about 30 seconds, people. Yeah, so you globe trolls saying that my rocket launch proves the globe is where I say to you, listen to your overlords because they always tell you the truth, right? The government tells us the truth at all times. So, yeah. So, again, we'd have to be drawing a line straight across here, across the tops of these trees, and saying, now, how much of the East Coast would be blocked out by these trees? And I would probably tell you it's got to be miles and miles and miles. It's not like I'm looking across the ocean, right? So take that into consideration. But they don't. They automatically say, oh, this proves the globe because it took 30 seconds in order for Wide Awake to see this. My name's David, by the way, and I like David more than actually Wide Awake. Um, but this is my issue with them. They come on, they say, oh, this doesn't, it doesn't sync up right. There's a 30-second time delay. And even one guy was saying it was even more than that. Now, I have been out here where, oh my God, the rocket launched and they haven't even done the countdown. I mean, and I'm watching this rocket way up in the sky, and then they start the countdown, and I'm going, what the heck? Why is it? Well, because they did have a long, long time delay on that particular rocket. Why do they do these time delays in broadcasting? Hmm. Makes you wonder what you can hide in 30 seconds, right? But again, you got to think about, the size of this rocket might be like the tip top of one of these little lights out here that you see, one of these little Y lights. And here I'm going to try to zoom in on it from 115 miles away and catch it coming right off the ground. Where would the ground be? Where would the horizon be 115 miles away? Now, they might say that it's way down here below these buildings because we're on this big curved ball. But I say no, it's just below these tree lines. And it will take about 30 seconds in order for me to see it above these tree lines. So, again, I'm not looking out across the ocean. I am looking out across a lot of terrain. And if you take into consideration perspective wise, okay, perspectively, I have a lot of blockage right here. So I wouldn't doubt that it would take 30 seconds for this rocket to appear in my visual line of sight above these tree lines. Now, for you globe people to think otherwise and just kind of come on my channel and say, oh, you just proved the globe with your rocket launch. Again, you guys are idiots. You guys ought to rethink your whole um, attack on us flat earthers, because it ain't working, because most of us already know that you guys are just believers. You believe the government, you trust the government. And here's something for you. Um, right now, our government here in America is bound and determined to take away our Second Amendment rights. They say it's to keep us all safe, but it's actually to keep us from fighting against tyranny. So when you look into history about all governments or rulers that have taken away the people's right to defend themselves against foreign or domestic, you find out that genocide is sure to follow. And it's usually done by those rulers or those governments. Stalin, for instance, uh, take that into consideration. You know, what was it? 60 million people died. How many people died in World War II? 80, 70, 80 million people? Yeah, folks, it's a form of depopulating the world. Now, we just recently had an event where they wanted to forcibly do something to you due to some kind of bug floating around in the air. Yeah, yeah. Again, the perspective size of that rocket lifting off the ground on the other coast would have miles of blockage due to those tree lines. So again, when I hear you guys talking bull crap, talking smack, I'm going to smack back, buddy. Because you know what? Just look at the size of this thing. Look at the size of this thing. Now, I am using a P1000, so zoomed in on it. Yeah, that's the size of it. But how much of that landmass, again, is blocking me out? Those tree lines are blocking me out of tens, 20s, if not 30s of miles, maybe even more. So, again, this does not prove the globe. If anything, it proves more of the flat earth, because this thing should take much more time to reach my line of sight above these tree lines. Again, you guys are grasping for straws, and I'm going to pull that straw right out of your mouth and make you look stupid. Because, in my eyes, you are stupid. If you really believe that this thing is going to take up a satellite, put it in the sky, and it's going to stay sealed or geocentric to the earth, it's going to stick to the earth like the moon, and we only see one side of it. You guys have got to be kidding me. I mean, common sense is not common. That's obvious anymore. Common sense is not obvious, common, because most people don't have any common sense. Most people just accept what they're told without question. But when you start questioning things, then you are put into this conspiracy theorist. Uh, I guess you could say you're just marked. They label you as a conspiracy theorist. But are we? Um, I would say that more people are asking the right questions. And this is another reason why they say that you are a conspiracy theorist, because you're asking the right questions. So again, keep asking the right questions, and we will eventually find the right answers. I mean, when they talk about refraction, and you know, There's ways you can look at refraction. Now, they tell us that light, I mean, I was watching one video and it showed the light bending down from a laser shining through a tank of sugar water, right? So light bends downward. So if light's bending downward and they tell you that the sun has already set before you see it set, how could light be bending downward, right? It would have to be bending upward in order for you to still see the sun when it's supposedly already set. So your guys' experiments are actually proving what we say. Because of refraction, it pulls the whole horizon downward, not upward. So again, you guys have a belief that your government's going to keep you safe. And your government's never going to lie to you. It's never going to falsify the facts and the truth, right? Years ago, I heard this saying that truth is the new hate speech. And you know what? I thought it was kind of funny at first, but today I believe it to be fact. You know why? Because nobody wants to know the real truth. Everybody says, well, what difference does it make if the earth is flat or if it's a ball? Well, if it is flat, they've been lying to us for 500 years. Lying. Flat out lying. Or wait a minute, maybe I should say less time than that because they didn't actually make a globe until what, the 1800s? So what happened to all them years before they made a globe that they were saying it was a globe, but they had no proof it was a globe? And then they say, oh, well, the first mission to the moon, they proved that the Earth was a globe because they looked back and saw this globe. Well, go on Google Earth and you look at how the height of the ISS, what the height of the ISS is supposed to be. Go to that height and then look down on Earth. Amazing, amazing that you will not see what they claim that they see up on the ISS. There's no way that they could see the entire Earth or even a big portion of it, the big curve that they show you, this big globe in the sky, because they can't see that much. You have to go up thousands of miles in order to see the whole globe Earth. Oh, well, maybe that's wrong, the globers will say. Well, no, it can't really be wrong if you go by their height, um, how high up you are to see Earth. You would only see a very small portion of it. And at the height that they are at, you would see the cartography of the land masses. But do we ever really see actual land masses, or do we see this CGI plotted globe in their windows or whatever the hell they're using to give us this shot? Because I don't think it's a camera. I think it's CGI. So again, you guys want to believe CGI over your own senses? Go ahead. Go ahead. It doesn't bother me, but don't come on my channel and talk smack when you have no proof of your globe to begin with. All you have is a belief and the trust in your government to show you something that is not really real. $60 million a day. I think it's even more than that now, but $60 million a day. Man, could you imagine the mind tricks we could pull on the masses if we had that kind of money? But no, most of us flat earthers are stuck with a very small, well, I have no working. I don't make any money off of my videos or nothing. So I don't have any funding to help me. All I have is my visual observational proofs, and I'll stick to those. But eventually, I'm going to have to step back out of this and stop doing these observations because I have a life to live. All right. I will talk to you later. Have a good day.